Okay, this is the diesel snowblower video update. Previous two videos, I did my diesel snowblower. I kind of talked about how I made it. This is an update video on it. So I added two new things to the snowblower and made things a little easier as well as improve what I have done. First thing out the bat, I added a air oil filter. Wondering what the heck that is. Same thing, farm tractors, agricultural equipment, they use this. I found the original air filter. There's two large intake ports, and the snow will get sucked in there and suck into the air filter, causing the engine to starve for air. That's what I found out, but everybody's different. So I added this air oil one, so air goes through those little openings there. It goes down this pipe internally, hits the oil. Is only like literally a quarter cup of oil, if not even that in there. Hits the oil, goes back up through this plastic filter, and then it goes into the engine. So that kind of prevents snow from getting in the engine as it's running. Because when I'm plowing snow, there's sometimes going to be a large puff of snow just rolling around me. So I'm hoping this will prevent snow from going in there. So that is my air filter. Next is the electric start. Yes, I did buy an electric start for it. Previous video, there was no starter motor, and here it is, the starter motor right there. 12 volts. So what I did is I ordered that, put it on here. I think that's a 8 or M8 bolts, 30 mils long. I installed that, then I added all these wires. Kind of see here, I got a lot of wires going on here. I'm going to tell you what they all do. So the first wire is coming off the engine. This is 24 volts AC. Goes to my rectifier. From the rectifier, it gets turned into 12 volts. I don't know how much amps gets turned to 12 volts. And that powers my lights and heated handle grips. Now that's a separate circuit. My next circuit is the key switch. So let's move over here. So how do you probably start it is to first you have a plug like this. Any plug will work. I use this one. This is like a 100 amp battery plug, and this is 6 gauge wire copper. Pretty good. And then I just have my battery terminals down here. So I'll do is later I'll get my battery, screw the terminals on and leave them on. And I'm just going to get a dolly cart it to the snowblower and plug it in. So as you can see here, this is connected to the starter motor. So you just unplug it, you plug that into here. So you get, and there's no mixing up because it's the way it's designed and you can't possibly mix it up. So you plug this in, and then that plug runs down that pipe all the way over. So one plug, this is the positive, up and over, and that goes into here, my positive terminal. And then one runs down here to my negative terminal. I have to do is put some dielectric grease and just paint everything black to keep the rust and road salt everything, but making sure it all works first. So after my battery terminals, I have my key switch terminals, which also comes through these black conduit pipes. I have a lot of them. I just bought like a whole big giant bag of it and used it. So this is the second wire. There is a white and red wire. So when you buy the electric kit from China, I'm not sure what brand, I think it's Taku, or I'm not sure, but I think that's how I pronounce it. Anyways, so my key switch wires go from the key switch. They run down this conduit. There's 3 wires, a green, red, and white. I'm not using the green wire. I basically just cut it and just stuff it in the tube and not using it. So I'm only having 2 wires to my key switch. So my white wire is positive, which sends electricity to the switch. And then from the switch, it sends power back to that red wire, which engages the solenoid to start the electric motor, which starts the electric start on that. So then that's my, that's all the wires. I try to make it as neat as possible just to make sure nothing gets caught of any kind. It's pretty much gonna be all packed full of snow. So after that, we're gonna go underneath here again. So that's my key switch. So I made a little bracket up, some plate steel. Like, I think it's not tin, but a little bit thicker, whatever material I had laying around. I added 2 nuts, and that's my key switch. Pretty much solid. I just cut a little hole and kind of filed and ground it kind of round, a bit lopsided, but whatever, it works. So then that goes underneath, goes to my big wiring harness. Well, that's the plug. And then that goes right underneath there. So kind of see all that, how that works. And then that's my plug wire right there. So you can kind of see that's my plug wires, and then I have my key switch wires. So I got a lot of wires now. And then this big guy right here, this is my, I'm gonna call it a ratchet crank start. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, ratchet crank start, because what we're gonna do is you're gonna ratchet it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it off the bracket right there. So that's what it comes with, a little plastic thing, and this is the handle for it. So no, I'm not gonna swirl it around and crank the heck out of it. I'm just gonna ratchet it slowly. So I'm just gonna move this cable out of the way so it doesn't interfere with what I'm trying to do. Because that battery cable is not gonna be on the machine anyway. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna crank it at least 10 times, 10 rotations. Okay, as you can see, I put a lot of pressure on there. Probably at least 15 pounds of weight in my hands, what it feels like. So a fair bit of pressure. So once that's cranked, you take it off, and then you put it right here. Just like that. Oops. Fell off, hit the dirt. Anyway, that's gonna sit like there. It did come with an actual cable, but there's no room on the snow where I put an extra cable or an extra handle, so the supplier actually does it anyways. If you go on the Alibaba website, it even shows them using the handle to start it. So that's cranked 10 times, 9, 10 times. We're gonna turn the fuel to the on position. Now so a lot of people don't really know about these kinds of diesels. You think that's pretty much on anyways, it's all the time, but how do you stop it? There's no kill switch on a diesel, it's all about the pump. You can actually see here if it says stop. So when that goes up all the way, it just basically just turns the pump off, and then the engine stops. So you're gonna give it a little bit of gas, probably quarter throttle at least. Tighten it down a little bit. So now it's at quarter throttle, fuel is on. Next, you gotta pop the compression. This is a decompression lever. You just push it down all the way. And now, all you gotta do is push the lever. I'm not sure I can do it with my foot, but I'm gonna try. As you can see, I can't talk over the engine. It's so loud, I just drowns my voice out. But anyways, as you can see, the manual ratchet crank was quite effortless. Just crank it 10 times, and then you stop after 10 rotations. I put it back in this little carrier or place where it's supposed to sit, and then you just hit this lever. As you can see, you pull that opens this to fly out. So it's a ratchet, so you don't have to, like those old Model Ts, you don't have to just give it and give it and give it and hope it doesn't what you call this, swing around and snap it. It's not a wrist breaker. It's not like those farm tractors or Model A's where you just gotta crank it really hard, and it's actually a ratchet. So as I could demonstrate it earlier, you just ratchet it, take your time. If you want your hands getting sore, use your left hand instead of your right hand, or vice versa. And then if you don't even want to crank it at all, you can just use the key switch. So you just crank it like that. Of course, the battery's not connected, but that is the Cub Cadet snowblower. And then of course, just like all Cub Cadet snowblowers, at least for that year, they all have the heated handle grips. That's on, that's off, and then you have your shoot control, so you can blow up on the air, or you can shoot it back down. In this case, there's a heavy crosswind. I'd leave it up all the way, and then you kind of use your crank and crank it. And this is your speed. It's not a transmission. It's like a belt with a big disc, but you just push it forward for fast and slow and reverse. It is a pretty heavy snowblower. Estimated weight is maybe 300, 350. I'm not sure. That's in pounds, not kilograms. So I like it. I should be ready to go over snow. So next video is going to be just me plowing snow with this guy. For the skid steer, it's really hard to start because of how big it is. Sometimes it just gets frosty and I can't start it. I kill the battery. I need block heaters and all that. And even then, it's just tough to start. I think one time it was like minus 20, 25 with windshield, minus 30. It wouldn't start. It was just totally locked up. This, I can leave this in the garage heated. I have a heated garage, just leave it in there. No worries. Worst case scenario, I can use a salamander heater or a battery blanket. I can't put a block heater on, and as you can see, there's no room. It's not even magnetic. It's just aluminum casting with some kind of, I don't know what that is, some kind of notching. But anyway, so that is the diesel snowblower. And one more thing, it does have a oil filter located right in there. That's the oil filter. You just screw that 10 mil screw out, pop that off, wash it, and stick it back in there again. And this is your governor, never adjust it, factory set. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. That's the diesel snowblower update video. So I added an air oil filter. Let's check the air oil filter and see how foamy the oil is. It's just kind of, I unscrewed a little bit. Oops. There you go. As you can see here, you can kind of see there, that's the oil right there. Let's just see if I can slip that back in this little spot. You can see it's like a sponge. That's the filter element. And that kind of just sticks right in there. My hands are oily, but that's engine oil. The oil I'm using is 5W40 full synthetic. That's the air oil filter. So there's that pipe. As you can see here, that little pipe goes down, hits that inner cone and blasts out, and that's what makes the oil a little foamy. That's good. That means it's filtering. And I did notice it did make it run a tad smokier because it's actually getting a little bit of the vapors, or yeah, I'm guessing vapors from the oil film that boiling and bubbling and all that. So that just kind of click it in there. So that's pretty much about it. You can go to Amazon or anybody who sells these kinds of engine parts. It's a 186F air-cooled engine. I like this because it fits and has this nice little cover, so any snow that just goes down, hopefully it doesn't get sucked in there. But if it doesn't work at all, I'll just remove it and put the air filter back on again like it had originally. But that's pretty much the update right there. So pretty good. A little heavy, but heavier is a little better for traction for these tires anyways, so I should be good to go for plowing snow. I had all my modification. Took a long time to do the key switch because I kind of have to drill and fabricate a new thing. And there's a lot of zip ties and a lot of little hoses and stuff. I try to make it as neat as possible. Again, I took a brand new snowblower and bought a brand new diesel and put it all together. And that's pretty much the cleanest snowblower modification you can get. There's a couple of videos. They're really good too. So if you're interested in making one for your own, they don't really sell it at all. Like, you can't really buy a diesel snowblower. You have to actually build it yourself like I did. Basically just buy a snowblower and buy a diesel engine and kind of fit them. I did make a custom drive pulley on that, but that's later. Anyways, that's the 3-stage Cub Cadet diesel build. Thanks for watching the video. Thanks, bye.